Hi, this is Cheryl St.Pierre. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make these lovely scoop wire earrings. I have used pearls. These are potato pearls, 6mm potato pearls, and then some shell pearls in the teardrop shape. I will be, however, demonstrating with using round beads. So these earrings are open to many varieties of beads, and I just want to keep you to have your mind open as to what kind of beads you can use for your drops. You could use a bunch of beads all together, like a cluster, or sky's the limit. Anyways, guys, this is what you're going to need for your supplies. Now I need to change the screen setting. There we go. Okay, so for supplies, there's your scoop, there's your snapshot. We're going to use 20 gauge dead soft wire, which is 8mm in metric. We will need 4 4-inch pieces of it. We're going to use 2 for the ear wires and 2 for the eardrops. Then you will need 28 gauge wire, which is 0.3mm of dead soft wire. By the way, I'm using raw copper today. And you will need 2 pieces of that, which are 4 inches each. So all of our wire today are 4-inch lengths. So, and for beads today, we're going to use 2 6mm beads and also 2 4mm bicones, as well as what did I wrote here? Oh, today I'm demonstrating with 4mm bicones and 10mm round beads for the drop. And then for tools, there's your snapshot. We will use round nose pliers, chain nose pliers, flush cutters, ruler, anvil and hammer, just a flat hammer today. A file, whether it's metal or nail file, that's up to you, because it's just for rounding out the bottom of your ear wire. And you will need a pencil, a round pencil for a mandrel, and the one I'm using is 7mm. So we're using a 6mm bead. We need it to be 7mm in diameter, so that the 6mm bead will fit in there very nicely. Okay, so now we can begin. Now we're going to be doing some precision work today for the spirals, and I'm going to try and stay in frame. And I'm having an issue. This is like the 8th time I've been doing this video because I keep going out of screen. So I want you to take your chain nose pliers. See, I just went out of screen again. And take the tip of your chain nose plier to the tip of the wire and give it a bend. And we're blurry. I don't want it to be blurry. Okay, so we're going to do that. And we've got the bend. Now this one's not bad, but yours might not be, and I'm going to give you a way of making it neater. So we're going to, because sometimes we have a straight portion, I'm going to snip off the end of the wire, and we're just going to leave the top. I'm not sure why my camera's doing that. Okay, get closer. I'm going to snip that off so that you have something like that left over, so it's nice and round. And then I want you to take your chain nose pliers and grab it like that, and then bend. And see, now it's got a nice, I'm not sure what's going on. See if that works. I apologize, guys. My camera's being there. I think I got it. Okay, so we're like that, and I'm going to continue a little bit more, And so now I've got it looking like that. And now I'm going to crimp it down and back. So I'm going to go back first. And of course it flips. It always does. Almost every time. Okay. And we just want to make it, crimp it, so that it looks like that. See that neat little loop? And now I'm going to continue doing the spiral nice and tight. So if that means you have to crimp it in from time to time, that's okay. And we don't want it very big. We only want it to look like that. So this is down like this, and the inside is going to the left as we're doing it. Or if you're left-handed and working opposite, to the right. But so it's kind of like the two ends are perpendicular to each other. Okay? And then we need to make 3 more of those. So go ahead, and I'm going to pause while I make mine and you can make yours. Okay, so I have mine all done, and they're all looking pretty similar, and that's the goal here, is we want them to look very similar. So especially for the ear wires, it's it needs to be very precise. You could use different head pins if you didn't want to use these, but I just think it adds to the look to have the 2 spirals. I mean, it looks like it belongs, so it's good. Okay, so the next step is we're going to take 2 of these and we're going to make our drops first. So that's important, is we want to have the drops done before we do the next step. So if you don't want to watch the video through this, you can scan through it, but I'm just going to make one of the drops in front of you anyways. So I'm going to take one of my 10mm beads, put it on there, and then I'm going to, take my bicone, my 4mm bicone, and I'm just using clear to match the black onyx. Okay, and now I need my round nose pliers. And I want the spiral going forward, but if it doesn't work out that way, don't stress out about it, because we can flip it around later. But I want my length of my earrings to be the same. So for ease of reference, I am using the center of my pliers to make the distance where my wraps will go for the top of my drop. And then I'm going to make my favorite size of loop. So I have that part of my plier memorized. Some people mark their pliers. That's up to you. Make my loop. And then make my neat wraps. Oh, I keep going out of screen. From where I'm holding it, it doesn't feel like I'm going to be out of screen, but see there, I just did again. Where are we at? I'm going to go further down. I will do the second drop in case I was out too much. Because I'm up so high, so I want the wire to be at the back where I snip it, if that makes sense. And yes, I'm going to do the second one on screen, just because I think I was out of screen with that first one. And then you'll get the instruction. I try so hard to be in screen, but it's not the easiest. Okay, so now I'm going to take this loop and make the spiral perpendicular towards it. And that'll be the front of the bead drop. And you notice I didn't make this centered. I made it going forwards. I did that on purpose. Normally I make it so that I bend it back and make it centered for a head pin, but we didn't need to do that in this case because I wanted it to have this specific look. So there's one done, and now I will start the second one. And because I'm lower down, I adjusted my focus or the zoom. Hopefully we'll catch it all on camera. Okay, so I am going to the center of my pliers to get the measured distance, making my favorite size of loop. And try and wrap as neat as possible. Ending off at the back to be snipped at the back. And crimp it in, make sure my wraps look neat. My wraps don't look as neat as I'd like them to, so I'm crimping them all in, basically. You have to be careful because it might cut the glass. And I'm going to trim that closer. Okay. And now I'm making, it is pretty perpendicular. There it is. Okay, so I have my 2 bead drops done. Now that was the easy part. Well, the hardest part of the whole earrings really is making those spirals. And we're done that. Okay, so I've got those set aside, and now I'm grabbing the other 2 head pins. And we're kind of going to do this together just so we get them to be the same shape. So I need you to grab your pencil at this point. And I want you to hold your pencil and the spiral like this. And carefully, I mean, it wants to twist on you, but we want to make the scoop part. And we're just wrapping it around, and we're almost touching the spiral with the other wires, so that when we take the pencil out, it looks like that. Now I want you to take the second one and do this exact same thing. It's pretty quick. This is pretty quick. And it's twisting on me, but we can flatten that out. Okay, I'm going to grab my Chino's plier and flatten it out. And I'm feeling really awkward right now. Clumsy is more the word. Okay, so now I want to compare that space that I want to make sure that we have the same shape. And I was pretty bang on. So, but if yours wasn't, what you would do is put both of them on your pencil at this point, because it isn't as awkward as when you first begin. And well, and then you can see exactly, see, I do have a difference. So I'm going to push, the one that's longer needs to be bent more until it's the same length. I mean, if it's minutely different, it's not going to matter. I'd say it's pretty close. I can't get it perfect. It's being a little awkward for me. Now, the next step is to put the pencil, and you're eyeballing this, approximately the bottom of the pencil level with the top of that spiral, and you're going to make a loop with the pencil. And that's for your ear wire. So it's going to look like that. And we want to do the same with the other one. And then we're going to do the comparison again and bending to be so that we're get them pretty precise. Now I'm going to put both of them on, and we can compare. They're tangling, so I got to untangle them. Okay, so I'm holding these together and I'm seeing how I went, and they're pretty close. Okay, I'm just gonna push until they're the same. And I got it pretty good. So we could have gone with shorter lengths of wire, but I just wanted it all to be 4 inches. It was just easier, because that way it wouldn't matter which wire you grabbed for the ear wires and what you did for the head pins. Okay, so the next step is to decide where you want to cut the ear wire. And I'm going to put them back on the pencil so that we can cut them both at the same time. Like this. Okay, I want to go approximately the same length as the bottom of the scoop. So I'm just going to snip them both off at the same time. And the next step is to file them. Now, if you think it's going to be hard to file them at this point because of this being in the way, you're probably right. So I'm going to do that little bend that you do at the bottom of earrings like that. I'm going to do that to both of them. And then we can file it because it's going to make it easier to file it, even though they're going to bend on us anyways. So they look like that. Okay. So I'm using my metal file, but again, as I said before, you can use your nail file as well. So I just go north, south, east, west, and that just means I'm sanding from the 4 sides. And then from the bottom, and you always check to see if there's burrs, and I still feel something there. You do it till you're happy. Now I'm going to sand my second one and pause while I do it. Okay, so I've done my sanding, but I think I've distorted the earrings a little bit, so we're going to do some fixing. I can see the openings have changed a tiny bit. Not much. I'm just going to do that manually like that. And I'm going to put these back on the pencil like this. And just put them, hold that together, and see how the one moved. I'm just going to move that back so that they're the same again. So we want it fairly small space there. And that's just going to help the earrings sit right on your ear. Okay, so now we've gotten the basic shape of these. Now we're going to take our anvil and hammer. And I won't do all the hammering on screen. I just want to demonstrate how to do it, because we don't want too much hammering. So what we're doing is I'm holding this approximately 1 inch away from the anvil. And 1 inch is 2.5 centimeters for the metric people. And I am just letting it drop. I'm not putting pressure. I'm just letting the weight of the hammer drop like that. And lift it up, let it drop. Do that about 60 times. And I think you'll have it firm enough for work hardening your ear wire. Okay, so go ahead and do that 60 times each earring, and then I'll check to see how firm it is. Okay, so I've hammered it each 60 times. It flattened it a little bit, not bad, but it definitely is strong enough. Mine's strong enough. If yours isn't, try about 20 more times. And now I want to flatten it a little bit more on the curves. So now I'm putting a little bit of pressure down. Now, some people say they've ruined their pieces because they hammer too hard. Don't hammer hard. Be gentle. Because remember, you can always do more repetitions. You can't take away, but you can always do more. And I just wanted it to get that flattened look there. And now I'm going to do the same for the other 4 curves. Okay, so I've done that hammering, and now I want to make sure that we haven't changed the shape, and I can see we have. So we will just use our pencil. So I'm going to put both earrings on in the scoop part on the pencil and make sure that they are. I'm going to put the spirals at the same point and push the other part so that they're the same. And then do the same thing for the other round. Now they're the exact same. Okay, so that didn't take long. And the ear wires are done. Isn't that neat? Okay, so now you're going to take your 28 gauge wire. You know, if you really wanted to, you could use 26. It's harder to do the wrapping with 26. That's why I chose 28. Okay, and we're going to just take one of them at this point. Take your bead drop, and you want to make sure that you put the bead drop on so it's facing forward. And I lucked out and I did it my first time. But if I didn't, I would take it off like this. So I'd watch how it was when I took it off and just did a flip. But mine was correct. So we want it to, because that's the front of your earring, you want that spiral to be facing forward. Okay, so the next thing you're going to do is take your 6mm bead. Well, actually, no, we're just going to have it handy there. You're going to take your wrapping wire, and we're going to wrap about 4 wraps as close together as you can, but we're going to squish it together. There's 4, and we want it so that both ends are on the same side. So I've got both of them up at the moment, and it looks like 5 wraps. And we're going to snip this off and crimp it down. Now we're going to flip it around. Well, we're going to slide it down first. I'm going to hold this here while I slide. It's being difficult. There. Okay, so I'm going to try crimping it in again. I must have moved it. Okay, so we want the crimped end to be in the center of the scoop because we don't want it poking you So we want the wire to be on the inside, and it won't ever poke you from there. Okay, so now I'm putting the bead on. Try and find my hole. There it is. Okay. And now I'm going to push this down a little bit more. Decide where you want the bead. We want to try and make both of them similar. So the first one really is easier because you don't have to compare them. Although very easy to fix too because you just slide them up and down. Okay, and wrap it 4 times, which should look like 5 again. 3, 4, and I'm going to compress it. And then I'm going to snip it off close to the bead. And crimp it down. And there, that's done. Okay, so I want you to go ahead and do the same thing for your second earring. Okay, I have my second one done. And now, so we just want to make sure that the beads are located in a similar place. And if they aren't, then just slide your wire down a little bit to be more accommodating as to where you want the bead. And usually the upper portion is easier to do because then it stays put. And there, that's done. So I think that both ways, whether you use round or teardrop beads, they both look elegant, very pretty. Okay, well, thank you for joining me in this video, and God bless, and we will see you in the next one. Bye for now.